The maniacal cultists are quelled for a time, but there can be no celebration. Your progress is measured only in progressive realization and dawning horror.
You know, when you
are in the shadow of the end.
You know, when you put it this way, this whole endeavor suddenly seems like a bad idea. And that can't be. I mean, I know you're the one who sent me a letter to come here, and you would never lead me wrong, Ancestor. I know that. You'd never, like, lead me into something that was a bad idea or a mistake. Yep. I'm back. I'm still Science Viking, and it's time to continue with Darkest Dungeon. So, we've completed our second run through the DD, and that means we have 4 more heroes who say, never again! So, that means we got 4 empty spots on the roster. Let's see what we can get. Ooh, a bounty hunter. I want a bounty hunter.
The thrill of the hunt. The promise of payment.
Let's see. Let's actually sort by class. What classes do I have the fewest of? Alright, so I have 3 grave robbers. Only one, well, let's see. Yeah, I have few jesters and plague doctors, but that's not really significant because they're not offering me any of those. I only have 1 crusader. Alright, well, let's get a second crusader then. How many Hellions
A mighty
do I have?
sword arm anchored by holy purpose. A zealous warrior.
I already have 3 Hellions. Well, I have 3 Hellions and I have 3 grave robbers. I only have 2 men-at-arms, only one of whom can go on low-level missions. So I'm going to take the man-at-arms and 1 of the Hellions.
The raw strength of youth may be spent, but his eyes hold the secrets of 100 campaigns.
And barbaric fury and...
Barbaric rage and
Rage,
unrelenting
not fury.
savagery make for a powerful ally.
Okay, and the Nomad Wagon doesn't have anything. And let's go back to sorting by level. And let's start by making sure that all of the high-level people are fully upgraded. So, Gilpin is not. Get him fully upgraded. And we're already a little low on gold, so let's just get moving. Let's look for a mission. And, well, the newbies need to be trained. Let me see. It could go for the Ancestor's Pistol, but honestly, it only boosts accuracy. It's not really that amazing. And we have some new people who need training. So, let's see. Collect bounty. You can use collect bounty in position. So the bounty hunter can use collect bounty and mark for death while he's in position 3. And can also use flashbang and caltrops. Then we put the crusader in position 2 and the man-at-arms in position 1. I should go back and learn some of their starting abilities. So that's the blacksmith. I want the guild. So you have wicked hack if it bleeds, barbaric yawp, and bleed out. So let's learn you Iron Swan and Adrenaline Rush. You don't have Rampart. Let's change that to you having Rampart. And let's add Defender while we're at it. For our Crusader, Smite, Zealous Accusation, Stunning Blow, and Battle Heal. Let's replace that with Inspiring Cry. Okay, now we're actually ready to go on a mission. Alright. And I'm starting to see a problem here. Yeah, I have too many melee people. Zealous Accusation, Stunning Blow, and Smite can all... I have an idea. It's stupid, but I'm gonna do it. So... You have Holy Lance. You are turning in and out of being flesh monsters. Let's get you breakthrough, which can be used from position 3. Yeah, I realize how dumb this whole endeavor is, but I'm doing it anyway. So... Alright. Replace Bleed Out with Breakthrough. You have... Let's replace Bolster with Rampart. Put you in position 2. And replace Battle Heal with Holy Lance. And Stunning Blow with Inspiring Cry. And Breakthrough can be used from any position. Okay. Okay, this is a really stupid team composition. If I were doing anything other than a novice mission, this would be suicide. But I'm doing a novice mission with a whole bunch of experienced people. I think we're capable of pulling this off. Alright, and... let's see. Let's not equip you with anything that increases your stress. Actually, let's give you a legendary bracer. For you, let's see, we have Heaven's Hairpin, but I'm not sure how good that is. Yeah, Heaven's Hairpin, and since that reduces stress, I'll give you the Ancestor's Pen. Let me just confirm. Breakthrough is a melee ability. Alright. Now for a Bounty Hunter, now that we finally have one, go to Wounding Helmet, and a Hunter's Talon. And for you, let's get you a Rampart Shield, and we're going to the Warrens. I'll give you a Cleansing Eye Patch. Okay, so now let's see. For my Hellion, trade Barbaric Yawp for Adrenaline Rush. So, yes, the Hellion can actually sort of fight in position 3. Okay, this is a completely ridiculous team composition, but let's see if I can survive. So, gotta get food, and a flesh monster trying to sell me things. 12 food should be enough. Handful of shovels. Definitely need torches. I will not forget the torches again. Gonna need plenty of anti-venom. Not quite that much anti-venom for a short mission. Some bandages, a couple of medicinal herbs, and keys are always your friend, even on short missions. Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying a melee-only team composition. Let's see if this goes horribly wrong. No, strike that. Let's see how this goes horribly wrong.
To prosecute our war against the swine, we must first scout their squalid homes.
Okay, I can skip one room, which would be this room. So, okay. The first bit of good news happens really early, which is we have a good
Ancient traps
layout.
lie in wait, unsprung and thirsting for blood.
Right. Yep. A little bit of cannibalism for fun and profit. I've already managed to take actually substantial damage relative to the number of hit points a hero has on that hero's first mission. Or, I mean, there's nothing surprising about taking damage on a hero's first mission. I managed to take significant damage without having combat. That's what I was trying to
even
say.
The earliest settlers.
Cleared a blockage. And now it's time for some violence. Okay. 7 to 13 damage, so a decent chance of a one-shot. If it bleeds on this one, which could kill. Holy Lance could also kill. Again, that requires that it hit. Crush. And that also doesn't kill. That is the luckiest wretch I have ever seen. Like, Mr. Swine Wretch, if you survive this fight, which you won't, go buy a lottery ticket. And we also have our first disease in our first battle. Again, not guaranteed to kill, but it could. break through. And there we go. We're back into position, and they're all dead. You know,
as victories mount, so too will resistance.
This is a lot more viable than I expected it to be. By which I mean it's viable at all. Okay. Use this on the pile of bones and find actually pretty good loot for this level of mission. And more heirlooms we don't need anymore. Ah, cultists. I thought we dealt with you guys, what with the whole darkest dungeon thing. Okay, collect bounty will definitely not kill, but it could kill this one.
Be gone, fiend.
4 to 7. If it bleeds, we'll do 5 to 9 and bleed for 2. So that won't kill. But crush could finish the job.
Continue the
onslaught. So we're down to just the brawler.
Them all.
Holy Lance could one-shot him, but the odds are really, really low. I'm just going to use Inspired Cry.
The way is lit. The path is clear.
Honestly, I probably should have Battle Heal instead of one of his close-range abilities, because he's never going to get that close to the enemy. You know, Mr. Brawler, I think you missed your calling as a butcher. Does that make him a cultist butcher, or just... And you can still use Collect Bounty from this position, and there we go.
Broken. Maintain the offensive.
This is way more viable than I ever would have imagined. And of course, and Vertigo is contagious now. Let's just go with that. I have a plan. Sort of. You use Crush. They both have the same hit points, but this one's more likely to hit. Okay, so that's 2 of them damaged. Because now we have to wait through Run for the old gods without a main healer. And since Breakthrough hits all 3 of them, Breakthrough can do that. Crumbles. And Holy Lance can hit the last one.
Obliterated.
Okay, now we just have a really hard to reach Wretch. %, move resistance. Your best bet is just to use Crush and hope it actually destroys one of the corpses, which it does. And your best bet is to use Caltrops, even if it basically does nothing. Okay, that'll take care of the Wretch. Now let's just use Inspiring Cry, a little bit more of that inspirational healing. And let's get back into position.
Great is the weapon that cuts on its own.
Okay. And more scouting. And more violence. Scouting and violence. That's basically been the theme for this mission. Okay, if it bleeds, does 5 to 9 plus 2. Whereas Breakthrough wears 2 of them down.
Grievous injury.
Okay, that's our 3rd disease in this mission. Yeah, welcome to the Warrens. I'm sure this is what you were expecting when you signed up for this. Go for the one that's more likely to die when you hit it.
A faint hope blossoms.
Yeah, you're gonna need a bandage. And Crush only does 5 to 9. Rampart, however, can actually manage a stun. And since he's stunned, he's gonna go for some healing. Yeah, I'm dropping Zealous Accusation for Battle Heal. I realize it only heals slightly more than Inspiring Cry, but it does heal more than Inspiring Cry. And Inspiring Cry isn't really useful in this situation, and that honestly isn't particularly inspiring either. Being inspired by the fact that the Crusader can contribute nothing.
A trifling victory, but a victory nonetheless.
Drop Zealous Accusation for Battle Heal, because at least slightly better healing would still be an improvement. Okay, this composition is gonna be a tough nut to crack. Because bleeding resistance is pretty low. This is only 100% base when you're dealing with noob bleeding. You're considered human, so this could finish you. This could do the job. I don't want the chopper to use. Really, all of the chopper's abilities are bad. I don't want him to use any of them. And as usual, you get your daily dose of vomit. Actually, and right, because they were surprised, they get their turn last and then first. So we get double the vomit, double the fun. Okay. Yeah, let's just get rid of the chopper. Could kill, and it does. Now we just have a bunch of corpses we need to get rid of. Like so. Alright. Okay, just one more. But, let's see if you can kill this thing with call drops. You cannot. Well, breakthrough should do the job. Killed a corpse and made a corpse.
This expedition at least promises success.
And I can afford to open the end. I can afford to use a key on this because I have 5 keys.
In Radiance, may we find victory.
Okay, have a bandage. Yeah, this crew is gonna need some stress treatment when this is all over. This mission has not been good for their mental health. Okay, now we're okay. Now we're just on to nothing inspecting. I think. Assuming that the stagehands don't quick sneak a a hallway battle in here somewhere while I'm not looking. I'm gonna keep a close eye to make sure that the empty tiles don't try something. I have more hunger. But we are gonna leave this... I forgot about the trap.
Curious is the trap maker's art. His efficacy unwitnessed by his own eyes.
And, yeah. The Hellion is afflicted. There are no enemies, but the Hellion is afflicted. Fortunately, the affliction isn't really going to do anything because we're done and we can return to the hamlet. And congratulations, we just had a successful mission with 3 resolve level 0 people. And it's a reminder of why we don't normally do missions with people who are resolve level 0. Because, yeah. I still can't believe I managed to make that team composition even sort of work. Alright, so we have an egomaniac, man-at-arms. And a Hellion with a fear of mankind. You know, the barbarian having a fear of mankind kind of makes sense when you think about it. Well, let's see if anything's happened in our absence. Empty kegs.
Of ale,
wonderful.
and a notable absence of good humor.
Yeah, I know my humor is bad. You don't need to rub it in. Okay, so at least 2 of the diseases are on the same person. Let's treat the syphilis first. Oh, so 4 diseases distributed among 2 people. Because you guys you have both scurvy and vertigo. Wait, scurvy, minus 40% bleed resistance, minus 40% move resistance. Vertigo, minus 50% move resistance. So, the Crusader has minus 90% move resistance. He's just moving all over the place. Also, they're treating his scurvy, and he's talking about curious medicines. Yes, those curious medicines, those are Boneth, those curious medicines, they're called oranges. Eat some of them occasionally. Alright, deal me in. Yep, you 2 can just go gamble. The Tavern Master can go flicker. Alright. a little low on money again. And we also need to train up a fresh crop of heroes to invade the darkest dungeon. Now, I'm not inclined to do so just because of money, but we do actually have the makings of a couple of different viable team compositions to go into the darkest dungeon. We got plenty of, so we could have like a abomination, a crusader. We could have a crusader and we have plenty of front runners. We do have an available main healer. There are a couple of different viable team compositions I could put together. Though I think I'm going to save Vilhardane and Ide until I have another champion, a champion of a different class that can also exploit marked targets. So, for instance, when our bounty hunter Boneth eventually makes it up to champion level, I might send him in alongside Vilhardane or Ide. But potentially a man-at-arms, an abomination, a jester, and a vestal would actually be a fairly viable team composition going into the darkest dungeon. I know their equipment is maxed out. Let's check out their skills. Except I can't really afford to spend anything, so what am I doing looking at ways to spend money? Money needs to be coming into the operation right now. So, let's see. So you do a medium mission. I really should do a medium difficulty mission because mid-level is what we have the most of. So let's go after this one and get Lost and Found, I believe, is a free weapon upgrade, and we actually have need of those. So who do we send? Let's see. We don't have a Vestal. But these enemies don't deal well with blight, so let's go with an occultist, a plague doctor, a grave robber, and now we just need a good front runner hero. Like let's go with a plague bearers. Let's go with a whatever the name of this class is. Leper. That's the name I'm looking for. Alright. So, a lot of the enemies here are Eldritch, so let's go. Actually, can he use... He can't use Sacrificial Stab in position 3, so the Eldritch killing... Or 4, so the Eldritch killing Incense. Actually, wait a second. There's no reason for the Plague Doctor not to be the one who's in position 4, and then I can trade Demon's Pull for Sacrificial Stab. Alright. The other thing that he's getting is the Ancestor's Scroll, because, of course. Let's see. You get the Blasphemous Vial. I mean, we have 3 of them. And, yeah, the Poisoned Herb. The other question is, who should get... Yeah, the Grave Robber gets the Ancestor's Portrait, because she's the lowest level. She also has some negative quirks that might need some attention. And I'm going to be using Thrown Dagger a lot. Let's give her the Fuseman's Matchstick. Now for you... Not sure, I don't want the Berserk Mask or the Immunity Mask. The Redemption Armlet is okay. What do we have that increases the accuracy of melee skills? Let me see, boosted accuracy versus marked. Accuracy if in position 4. Neither of those would do you any good. I was going to go with the Ancestor's Pen. Critical and damage for melee skills. He also has the Yips, which makes him even less accurate than he already would be. This is not a very good leper. Should we trade him in for a different leper? To deploy the emergency backup leper? Unfortunately, we don't have one. Well, let's see if we can pull this off. I mean, this is definitely a more sane team composition than what I had for the first mission of this episode. Though, as people flicker in and out of existence, sane is really not a term I would associate with any aspect of this operation. Get some bandages. Yeah, they're flickering more since I did the second Darkest Dungeon mission. This is only going to get worse, I just know it. Balls will explode if left too long, and enemies die when their HP reaches 0.
Recover these lost shipments of rarities.
Okay, this is gonna
that we
be,
may prevent them from falling into even less scrupulous hands.
You think there's someone less scrupulous than us? Like, there's you, and then you've all seen how... There's the Ancestor, and then you've all seen how I run this operation. There really is nobody less scrupulous than this operation. I defy you to find someone more unscrupulous.
If only treasure could staunch the flow of otherworldly corruption.
Oh, we've already found the first one. Ancestor's Relic. What do these things do?
The way is lit. The path is clear.
With most of the other
require only the strength to follow it.
Like, with most of the other collect 3 things missions, I can usually understand what the things do that's important.
Another one falls.
But what do the, let's see if we can hit with Hugh. Okay. And this one dies of blight. And over the course of a single round, all but the Oracle are gone.
The slow death. Unforeseen. Unforgiving. Not
only that, as long as this doesn't destroy the corpse, I can still reach the Oracle with Hugh. So let's just use Emboldened Vapors. Oh, and his stealth is worn off. I was thinking I'd have to reach him with Hugh. I can hit him with Chop. Let's see how much damage this does.
Obliterated.
Not bad at all. And we got some...
A burden of finery risks life and limb.
Alright. And we got some pretty big criticals last time, but for a Resolve level 4 without a critical, that 25 damage was impressive. Okay, who of this team has the best trap disarm chance? You're 60%, no surprise. Oh, right, the Grave Robber, of course. Though it's not terribly surprising that the Plague Doctor has a relatively high trap disarm chance, being basically a surgeon and all. Let me see something. Yeah, you do actually have the right ability set up to be in position 4. Okay. I sin so very much. Light guide me. Vampiric Spirits. Reduced debuff resistance. Well, I guess it's one of the less bad quirks. Actually, wait a second. Oh, right. You have Snuff Box. You can remove a disease on yourself. Well, that works. Okay. I'm gonna not for the algae. Salvage ourselves up an unburnt torch and light it up. Yeah, the downside of these kinds of missions is we kind of have to go everywhere. Okay. Let's go with flashing daggers. Wear the whole enemy team down a little bit. Ow. And it's an old favorite, Plague Grenade.
Executed.
I'll keep this bit for later. And now, on top of Plague Grenades, let's add Vulnerability Hex. Yeah, eagle-eyed viewers will know what I'm setting up for. Not that it's really necessary. Wait, there was no point in doing that. He's going to die of blight before I get a chance to exploit this anyway. Okay, so Hugh will do 8 to 15. So or it will get a critical and just destroy everything. So I was intending to use Marking and Blight to make Thrown Dagger do extra damage, But he has 4 hit points and he's blighted for 5, so there's no reason to bother. Let's use the extra damage against blight on this one.
A time to perform beyond one's limits.
He says as the fish dies of the blight damage I inflicted last turn. I'm sure he was referring to the thrown dagger, but it really looked like as the fish monster is keeling over, it's like, a time to perform beyond one's limits. And there we go.
By inches.
And scouting. This day just keeps getting better and better. Wonder how that's going to be undone. Oh, and we found a quest location. But I don't think I finished the thought earlier. With all of the other items that you can find, like the grain sacks or the medicinal supplies or destroying the animalistic shrines, you can understand like what the thing does, what its purpose is. But what do these ancestors' relics do? How do they help the operation? Or is it literally just finding them so that they're contained, so that someone even more unscrupulous than us doesn't get their hands on them?
Another abomination cleansed from our lands.
I'm gonna go with this. I have a plan. Of course, the plan hinges on the leper's accuracy, so it's probably not a good plan. Thrown dagger on that one. Battlefield medicine, because we may not get a chance with occultist. And now he can one-shot both of them with you.
Their formation is broken.
That's what I mean about it hinging on the leper's accuracy. He needs to not miss or it won't work. And our first frothing madman of the episode. You know, it isn't really Darkest Dungeon unless you have a crazy person. See if we can blight 3/4 of their team in one round.
Blow.
We can. And chop. Yeah, there we go. That's the end of the brawler. Now... one of these is more dangerous. The Madman is more dangerous.
And power.
So a critical hit with a marking ability does not extend the duration of mark. Like a critical hit with like a damage over time ability extends the duration of damage over time. Fortunately, horror abilities cannot do critical hits as far as I can tell.
Slowly.
Well, I suppose to get a critical hit, an ability has to
This
inflict
is how
damage.
life is taken.
And start to work on the bulwark. And let's just put the madman out of our misery.
Destroy them all.
The wide mouth, yeah, the wide mouth, it'll take a couple of turns for him to finish dying, but he's basically not a problem anymore. So all we have to deal with is the bulwark, and accumulating flight damage on him will do it eventually. So it'd be better if we can just erode that high protection and hit the chop. Unfortunately, his protection really needs to be eroded a bit further before I can do that. And Thrown Dagger can't hit position 1, but Darts can. Blighted for 9. Let's turn that into 15. This mighty blight resistance of 4%. That's the end of the bulwark.
Cuts on its own.
And that's the end of the wide mouth. You know, I gotta give the leper a pat on the back for this mission. He has yet to miss.
Into the mud.
You know, let's give this leper some credit. He has yet to miss anything. And I actually still need to go down here in case the third one is also in this hallway. I mean, it probably isn't, but I can't really risk it.
Awarded to the brave and the foolhardy alike.
Whoa. Trap beyond
Mind
measure.
that such missteps are the exception, and not the rule.
Okay. Yep, we've confirmed there's nothing down here, and commence backtracking. At some point we are going to make camp, but I'm probably going to wait to do that until we know where the last treasure is. Because we need to gather these artifacts up so that we can throw them in the vault, never to be seen again. Also, I just noticed this. So, the Lepers Weapon is an executioner's sword. You know, it's rather morbid, but that kind of makes sense why it's so inaccurate. It's designed to cleanly decapitate someone who's not resisting. So, it would be very sharp, probably quite heavy, but it wouldn't necessarily be designed in a way that's conducive to accuracy. What do you think?
In Radiance, may we find victory.
I never really put two and two together on that before, but that actually kind of makes sense why his weapon is so inaccurate. Coral, we all know coral is dangerous. Coral inflicts negative quirks as a defense mechanism. We all learned about that in biology class. Whoa. And, I have a plan. It's called Operation Chow Time. So just eat our way into having enough space for the jute tapestry.
The match is struck. A blazing star is born.
You know what? I'm going to drop the antivenom. The only reason to keep it is spiders and one curio interaction. I'm going to be honest, though. After dropping the antivenom, I was half expecting this encounter to contain spiders. Okay, so 3 to 6. Throwing dagger will do 6 to 13. Do 6 to 13. Not really the damage number I needed, but that's really not the damage number I was hoping for. Okay, so 5 damage per round for 3 rounds. So the Oracle and the Enchantress are done. It's just a question of how long it takes for them to notice that.
Annihilated.
And not to be outdone, the Leper takes care of the Brawler in one.
Blood quickens.
And Barnacle Barrier, which aside from the protection buff is utterly meaningless. Of course, the killing them with blight means we have to let them continue to exist for a few turns. So, let's just focus on getting rid of Captain Bulwark. Yeah, no amount of protection will save you from blight. Right, so this is the Oracle's last turn. And what a wonderful last turn it was. Missing Stress Wave twice. Chop. And that was actually probably his last action. Allow me to demonstrate. Now he's blighted for 12. And now he's blighted for 18. So now we just wait for the other team to keel over.
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
Press the advantage, I didn't even have to do anything.
Or is it merely a trick of the light?
Okay, and let's get the scouting. And let's just make camp now to make a bit more inventory space for the gold. So light up a torch.
Huddled together.
Grab the gold.
Furtive
grab the other
and
stuff.
vulnerable.
We can afford to
Rats
feast.
in a maze.
Just realized I didn't confirm that anybody has. Okay, let's start with Snuff Box. Just to get rid of vampiric spirits. Oh, I could also have used the cure. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to use. Actually, I can't. I don't have any. Yeah, I don't have any camping abilities that can prevent nighttime ambush. So let's use Reflection, because Reflection is basically makes the Leper invincible. Reflection removing his one weakness. Fear is a mental state. Change your mind and you will conquer it. And we may as well get rid of the last bit of stress. And let's see if we have any midnight surprises. Nope. We got away with that. Okay, that was a wasted key, but I have so many of them that it's kind of meaningless.
Another mariner.
Another misfortune.
Another misfortune.
It's all about the misfortune with you, Ancestor. Okay, we have scouting. And let's see. Curio. Quest location. Okay, we're almost there. One more fight and we're out of there. We're out of this. Yeah, you clearly sinned a lot. Okay, this time it's having a positive impact. Night Owl. That's not really a particularly positive impact, I'm gonna be honest. Okay, so they've seen how effective the bulwarks have been against us, and so they've decided to give us 2 bulwarks. Let's see. Start with the wide mouth, just start the dying process for the wide mouth. There's not a whole lot the Grave Robber can do on round 1. I really should have equipped her with something to lower her speed, because I kind of want her to act later in the round. However, vulnerability hex. And while we're at it, Plague Grenade. And let's complete the dying process for the wide mouth. Barnacle Barrier on the other tank. Yeah, they're not very good at choosing their targets for their defender abilities. And Columbell really picked the right time to duck. That could have left her in a bit of a bad way if that had hit. However, okay, so it deals extra damage to Marked and extra damage versus Blighted, and the Bulwark is both Marked and Blighted. How much damage does it deal? 2 to 5. Yeah, 75% protection is a bit of a problem. And it also has Blight resistance. Well, Plague Grenade cares nothing for your Blight resistance. Okay, technically it cares a little bit. Y'all know what I mean. Alright, Chop.
A decisive
Because we're hitting a Bulwark either way, the only question is which one. In fact, that's it. He's done. He'll be done when he gets a turn. Unfortunately, I can't really target anything else. However, I can use Emboldening Vapors, which I didn't really use very much at the beginning of the game, which was when I was using Plague Doctors more, but I've kind of fallen in love with Emboldening Vapors. That damage boost that you can use in every... Even if you can only stack it up to twice, it still can be really helpful. And I was kind of you use Solemnity, because we need to wait for this guy to finally heal over. Because we need to get rid of the guarded status, and no one in this team has a stun ability. I know the Plague Doctor can get one, but this Plague Doctor doesn't have it. Okay. Noxious Blast blights for 6. Yeah, so that should... Now we just need to do 6 damage sometime. We need to do 3 We're done. Because he went first, we're just done. We may as well just spend the turn healing. And bleeding, in addition to healing. Or we can just do that. Okay.
Seize this momentum. Push on to the task's end.
And grab the last one. And let's just get out of here before something manages to go wrong. Because we all know something is going to find a way to go wrong. And 13,000 plus 6,000. Decent haul. And Columbell just decided to just hoard all of the resolve experience for herself and got 27 resolve experience from one medium length mission, bringing her all the way up to champion level, which means we have 2 new champions now.
A finely crafted instrument of butchery and bloodshed. Yours for the taking.
Okay, so I get a free weapon upgrade. Well, that's going to Ide, because this is the best deal we can possibly get is the final upgrade, which would cost 3,000. Is instead free. Now, all right. So sort by level. So let's upgrade. Yeah, now. I think I know what I'm going to do for my next mission. First, I want to upgrade as much as I can of the people who just became champions. And then Fairfax doesn't really need to be upgraded. And honestly, we're down to 11,000, and that's the amount I like to hold on to for to fund future missions. But I think I'm gonna for the plan for the next one is going to be the newly emerged champions, and then I'm also going to send in Fairfax, the antiquarian, and then one of the level 6 people, since I'm not sending in 2 grave robbers on the same mission. Or if it's a short mission, I could send in Moncel and get him up to resolve level 6 right away. But before I do that, I am going to get us a fresh recording file, so I will be back in a moment.
I was lord of this place before the crows and rats made it their domain.
Okay, I am back. Outsiders. Wait, that's a different name for the same team composition. Before it was Plague Bearer. Oh, the order matters. It isn't just the composition, but it's the order. So they're Plague Bearers when they're in this arrangement, and they're Outsiders when they're in this arrangement. Or does this not refer to everyone? It's just like these two, the Occultist and the Grave Robber, are Outsiders, and the Plague Doctor and the Grave Robber are Plague Bearers. Anyway. Alright, so let's bring Fairfax in position 3. Let's keep Columbell. And let's drop Campion. Where is the level 5? Touche goes there. And then let's bring someone who's level 6. Well, let's have that someone be Druel, since we need a main healer anyway. Let's have that main healer be someone who also grants a passive experience boost. Not that we really need it. Touche is the only one who would kind of benefit from that. So, Vestal. We're not exactly using the Profane Scroll this time, because she's in position 4. And yeah, let's go with the Carapace Idol and the Candle of Life. Yeah, Columbell does not need the Ancestor's Portrait. So instead, let's use the Sickening Satchel, but her speed is 12. Yeah, she's always going to go before the Antiquarian does. There's not really a whole lot I can do to lower her speed. Let's see. Could I trade the Fuseman's Matchstick for something that lowers her speed instead of increasing it? That would only reduce her speed by 1, so it would lower her speed to 9. She'd still be faster than the... I'll leave things the way that they are. I kind of want her to be slower than the Antiquarian, so the Antiquarian can use Festering Vapors to blight things, and then the Grave Robber can exploit that to do extra damage to you. So the Ancestor, I could get the Ancestor's Handkerchief, but I'm not I'm not going on one of those missions with an Antiquarian. So let's see. Let's go to the ruins. We have a pretty good blighting team. Let's go to the ruins, and I'm gonna do the medium length mission. I don't want to take on a long mission with an Antiquarian. I'm sure it can be done, but I think you have to be better at the game than I am to do it. We're having a couple of anti-venoms. I think there are enemies that can cause blight in the ruins, but I'm not sure. I think the maggots show up in the ruins, so we might have to worry about being gravely nibbled. Okay. Alright, I think we're good. Let's do this, and let's collect some antiques while we're at it.
The fiends must be driven back. And what better place to begin than the seat of our noble line?
If we're just beginning now, we're in some trouble. It's been years since the beginning of this mission. I say, I like to take my time.
A fortune waiting to be spent.
Yep, a fortune waiting to be lit. Though the concept of having a fortune that you set on fire reminds me of a story I heard once of a guy who bought some really expensive cigars, and so to secure his investment, he purchased insurance on the cigars and insured them against a whole bunch of different things. One of the things that he insured them against was fire. Over the course of a while, he smoked the cigars, and then, allegedly, he actually filed an insurance claim claiming that the cigars had perished in a series of small fires. He was prosecuted for insurance fraud. So the concept of torch beyond measure, just kind of wealth waiting to be lit, just kind of brought that back to mind. And friend for the old gods. Unfortunately, his aim isn't very good. Let's go for Dazzle. Now we're still doing the Menacing Gargoyle. Okay, 5 to 10 for Thrown Dagger. I'm gonna go with this. Ooh, critical. Because I can take out the other Gargoyle pretty easily with Q, not to mention the fact that it will, in time, die of the blighting that it already has. Unfortunately, the Witch is going to hold up for a little while. Especially if she manages to keep doing that. May as well stun her at least. Unfortunately, you can be in position 2 and still use Q.
Their formation is broken.
The rhyming was
Maintain
unintentional,
the
I promise. And blighted or not, Thrown Dagger still does pretty good damage. You know, the Antiquarian is a pretty weak hero, but something I will give her credit for, she has one of the most permissive move abilities of anyone. In fact, I think she might have the most permissive, moving 2 in either direction. I know she's not the only hero that gets to do that, but does anybody get to move more than that? Does anybody actually get to move 3 spaces in one turn? Because that's what I mean, that I think that the Antiquarian may have the most permissive move option. Okay, we need one more hit for the Witch to actually die.
Restored.
Like that. Whoa.
Seize this momentum. Push on to the task's end.
The Antiquarian to be the one to open the sarcophagus.
Wealth beyond measure. Awarded to the brave and the foolhardy alike.
I was not some of that is probably because this is a champion mission. I was not expecting that kind of loot from just a room battle. Also, it's a good thing we went that way, because, well, it was needed. And... no, that's not even a unique enemy. That's just a Bone Lancer. Okay, How do we want to do this? Vestal's in position 1, and that isn't good. 7 to 14 with a decent critical chance. Critical did slightly less than I was hoping, but it did quite a bit.
Mortality clarified in a single strike.
An eye for an eye and a crit for a crit. Festering Vapor's Blight's 3 for 3 rounds.
Well struck.
So we need to tolerate the Bone Lancer for one more turn and he's gone. I consider that completely worth it. We gradually get the Vestal back into position.
Destroyed.
Actually, this Blight's again. Okay, that's it. Congratulations, Fairfax. You took out the Bone Lancer all by yourself. Now I just need to hope Columbell isn't targeted by Quarrel. Use Solemnity because I need to stall. Oh shit, I gave him ideas. I need to stop giving the enemy ideas.
Ebbs, terrible vistas of emptiness reveal themselves.
Okay, I'm just gonna go with Divine Comfort because it will get her off of Death's Door. And yeah, he's reduced to using Bayonet Jab, which isn't really a very good ability. Use Thrown Dagger to start wearing him down. We really need to heal the Grave Robber.
The fevered pitch of battle.
I can afford to stall a little bit. Not very much. Yeah, that's a sign that that's the maximum amount of stalling that can be allowed. And Columbell is clearly getting impatient because critical hit. You see, Columbell has a very passive-aggressive way of responding when I decide that I'm going to stall out a fight, which is she just gets a critical hit and kills the enemy. It's like, oh, I accidentally did too much damage. Now we have to move on and can't just keep stalling here. Okay, I'm actually gonna let those stay. I'll leave those gems behind. So 2 rooms and 2 room battles.
The match is struck. A blazing star is born.
I'm actually going to go for the shield wall. He has high protection and we have no way to reduce it, so Blight would be good if we could actually Blight. But when I use Festering Vapors, I want to target the Sharpshooter. The Festering Vapors actually does okay damage. I mean, it does 3 points of... Actually, that isn't okay damage. I'm just used to dealing with low difficulty missions. I'm used to, like, novice level missions where 3 Blight for 3 rounds is actually meaningful, but we're dealing with champion level missions where you can get things like 5 or 6 points for 3 rounds if you have a Plague Doctor. I have a few questions I'd like to ask the Leper. Quick a moment. And 10 to 20, so without a critical, it won't kill.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Fortunately, criticals are common, apparently. Of course, on the other hand, we're on our 2nd room battle, and we already have a mortality debuff. Festering Vapors, that'll do. That's the Bone Shield Wall done up. Unfortunately, the Bone Shield Wall is still creating problems.
Slowly, gently. This is how a life is taken.
And yep, the Bone Sharpshooter is not a problem anymore. What do I want to do? I'm just gonna go with Fortifying Vapors. I'll just have her heal. Right, because of the life candle. That's why Fortifying Vapors actually heals a non-trivial amount of health. Please knock back. Thank you. Thank you. I don't even mind that the Vestal is stunned. 17 to 30. And the shadow of the massive criticals. Stick with four. Actually, no need to use Fortifying Vapors. I can use Divine Comfort next turn, because he will still be alive next turn. And Bone Rampart, because that ability is just Rampart on the enemy team. Okay, that guarantees that he dies. That was a significantly less massive critical.
A death by inches.
What should... I'm gonna drop the medicinal herbs for the rare antique, and I'm gonna drop the anti-venom for the rubies. No room battles detected yet, so let's just go this way. Yeah, this is a significantly less generous map than some of what we've been getting. Well, it's really only the first map for this mission that was generous, but
often low on supplies.
And we have a bone bearer, and I swear to God, the battle standard is staring at me. Okay, thrown dagger can hit position 4, so we're just gonna have to tolerate tempting goblet for a little while because I want the bone bearer to be gone. Festering Vapors isn't really good, but I'm going to use it anyway. It does reduce blight resistance, which can be helpful. And of course, Wicked Surge on the only enemy for whom Wicked Surge is meaningful. One time I really need your AI to be dumb and decides to be smart. Well, at least he's stunned now. Because yeah, the militia is pretty much meaningless. The only thing they have going for them is that Bump in the Night inflicts a debuff. And that the Leper's accuracy isn't very good. Only 8 to 17, even with the damage boost. Oh, so it looks like it's going to take a few hits to get rid of him. Well, we can at least accumulate blight damage. Okay, one more solid hit from Thrown Dagger, and we're done with the Bone Bearer. However, the Bone Royalty is becoming seriously dangerous. So, that was underwhelming. Well, let's see if we can at least get rid of the rabble. We cannot. Yeah, it's a lot harder to execute things when they won't stand still. Also, we've clearly got some kind of fog of war going on in the front lines here because nobody is hitting anything. The leper can't hit the militia, and the militia can't hit anybody. The tempting goblet, on the other hand, does not miss. It must be like heat-seeking wine. And the grave robber's irrational.
Reeling, gasping, taken over the edge into madness.
Okay, and since that missed, okay, that still isn't gonna. That isn't gonna do it. Okay, let's. Oh shit. Okay, and looks like we're not gonna be healing the. Okay, that's the kind of damage I need. That's the kind of damage that I need Judgment to do, because we're not going to be allowed to heal our Grave Robber, which means we have to deal with one last Wicked Surge to remember him by before he finally dies. And now she's on Death's Door. So she's afflicted, she got a mortality debuff in the second fight of the mission, and now she's afflicted and at death's door. It is just not her day. It is really just not Columbell's day. She does at least finally get to kill something. Okay, Fortifying Vapors, get her off of death's door, that's at least a start.
Great is the weapon that cuts on its own.
Divine Grace. Brought to you by Massive Criticals. for all of your healing and damage needs. Okay, that did less than I was hoping it would do. See if we can back it up with Nervous Stab. Dodge of 21. Why do these guys have such good evasion? Also, a 64% chance to hit, and he's missed, I think, 3 or 4 consecutive times. Yeah, before the Leper was beating the odds in a good way, he's still beating the odds. It's just a lot less good now. Alright, Bump of the Night. The end of Bump of the Night. You do indeed fancy a dance. Yeah, the
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
Okay, so Columbell is afflicted, and she's still responsible for more deaths on the enemy team than anyone else is. The rest of you really need to up your game. Dazzling Light, because of critical, can inflict some damage. Oh my, a party? For me? Yeah, the irrational quotes are simultaneously unsettling and kind of funny.
As victories mount, so too will resistance.
Okay, and no scouting, so we're gonna have to go down here to confirm that there aren't room battles. We're gonna need to make camp pretty soon. If we're lucky, I can actually get Columbell's, whoa, stress level low enough, but I don't know that I'm gonna be able to pull that off. Unfortunately, this team doesn't have any stress management active abilities. Okay, so there was a room battle in here. Bloodletter occupies 2 spaces. That's just 3 to 6. Pick to the face would do 6 to 11. Thrown dagger would do 6 to 12. Or nothing. It could also do nothing. Nervous Stab. Dazzling Light. So you really stun him. And let's just go for Chop. And miss. I really should have expected that. Of course, Shank does not miss. And neither does Blanket Fire. And of course, Blanket Fire... And Blanket Fire reduces evasion. So if it hits you once, it's likely to hit you again. Festering Vapor from the Raider so that I can prone dagger him next time, except he failed. Alright. Put the Leper back together. He's fallen apart a little bit. And fortunately, the Leper does a lot of damage when he hits. Doesn't hit very often, but when he does, he makes a big occasion out of hitting the enemy. Probably should have upgraded his weapon a bit better.
For the slightest lapse in concentration.
I can never start working on the Raider anyway. Stick with Festering Vapors because we can deal some damage with Thrown Dagger. Well, I really need the Bloodletter to die. I need something to die. I need
despondence. Set the stage for heroism or cowardice.
I need some of these enemies to stop being alive so that they're forced to stop damaging me. Unfortunately, that may be too much to ask for. Columbell is at death's door. Again.
More blood soaks the soil.
And that's the end of our Grave Robber for this mission.
Prodigious size alone does not dissuade the
the
sharp blade.
Let's see if I can figure out the rest of this. Divine Grace. A big heal, though the Leper's high maximum HP makes it look smaller than it is. And we're gonna need Purge. But now they're both within range of Q and Chop, and that will make a big difference. Unfortunately, I'm not convinced that we can finish this mission. I don't think this is something that we can do with 3 people. You're gonna stab this one. So I'm gambling on something. Hugh does not do enough. Yes, it does. Hugh does enough damage to one-shot the front one, while also seriously weighing down the back one. Unfortunately, that operates under the assumption that the leper can hit something, and that is not a reasonable assumption, apparently. Ooh. The leper is very good at being hit, though. Being hit is really his area of expertise. Alright. Keep up with the healing. We can't out-heal the damage, but we can at least mitigate it. We finally managed to dodge blanket fire. Not so lucky with Shank, though. Now we're out of bandages. We're also out of accuracy. Okay. Another big divine grace. A medium-sized nervous stab. And another miss. You know, Touché, I think you should retire and take up another profession. I recommend literally anything. You have some accuracy issues that you really need to work through if you want to stay in this industry. I can't use fortifying vapors from this position anyway. Druel's doing her best, but there's only so much she can do. How many times has he missed with a greater than 50% chance to hit? Because I think we've reached 10.
Blurred vision. The end approaches.
And his resolve is tested and selfish. And Fairfax is hopeless.
There can be no hope in this hell. No hope
And
at all.
I'm just gonna retreat. And retreat failed. And heal the leper. Get him off of death's door. Stick with Hugh. Or not. Yeah, we've lost. We've lost hard. So after taking on eldritch monsters from beyond the grave, bandits are what finally does us in. Find comfort, heal everyone.
The wounds of war can be healed, but never hidden.
Okay, let's just get out of here.
Do not ruminate on this fleeting failure. The campaign is long, and victory will come.
Now, I will say, despite being a failed mission, it turned out less bad than it could have, because we at least, thanks to the Antiquarian, we have 15,300 gold. So, really, the Antiquarian was the MVP of this mission. The rest of the team completely failed in their goal, but the Antiquarian managed to at least mitigate the damage significantly. Even if 3/4 of the team managed to become, Okay, replacing a mania with just sickly isn't that bad. That also means we have a disease we have to treat, and some stress we have to treat.
I was lord of this place before the crows and rats made it their domain.
Alright, let's see about the stagecoach. I could get a grave robber to replace the one that we just lost, but I'm actually going to take Bondeville, the Seeker Vestal, because we need all the healers that we can get, and especially we need them at low level.
A sister of battle, pious and unrelenting.
Actually, let's see if the Nomad Wagon has anything helpful. Not particularly. Let's see about treating some of these, Also, Hysterical Blindness does what exactly? Minus 20% accuracy if stress is above 70%. I'm going to fix that now, because anything that reduces a leper's accuracy is unacceptable. And the thing is, once this team has recovered from the previous mission, we can pretty much just do a rerun of the same mission, because, well, we did lose our Grave Robber, we have another Resolve level 5 Grave Robber in the form of Foliot, or however you pronounce that name, or Folio, whatever the correct pronunciation is. I apologize to the Grave Robber for probably mispronouncing her name. To make it up to her, I'm going to upgrade her equipment. And having done that, I'm gonna do one more mission. I'm gonna break in the new Vestal and, gonna go in a novice level mission to break in the new Vestal. Yeah, 3 grain sacks and we can get a bumper crop. That could be very helpful given the funding problems we're having. Let's see, what abilities do you have? I need to invest a little bit of gold in this Vestal first. I always forget that when heroes arrive, they aren't guaranteed to have all of their skills unlocked. So they sometimes don't have the skills I need them to have. But Dazzling Light and Divine Comfort. Okay, now let's embark. And then... yeah, I am going in with a bounty hunter whose stress level is already a little high, but I think we can manage. And... let's go with Defender. And you have you have Wicked Hack, if it bleeds, Breakthrough, and Adrenaline Rush. So you don't have Iron Swan, but I could probably live without Iron Swan. Now it's just a matter of trinkets. Start by unequipping. Something I do actually like more about XCOM, which I did before this. In XCOM, when you're making equipment available, the button to make equipment available doesn't affect people who are currently in your party. So the idea is you only remove equipment from inactive characters so that you can make items available for the people who are actually going on the mission. I don't want anything that boosts his stress. Where's the beast? Yeah, let's go with the Beast Slayer's ring, because we're going to be dealing with a lot of beasts. And for you... the old classic that is the Flesh's Heart, and on top of that, the Rampart Shield. Heaven's Hairpin, and Ancestor's Pet. The Bounty Hunter isn't really ideal for this mission because he has to... the Bounty Hunter himself is the only one who can inflict marks, but... well, beggars really can't be choosers. Alright. Plenty of anti-venom and plenty of bandages. Plenty of flickering, too. And embark on our final mission for this episode.
Even the fiercest beast will lay down when it is not eaten.
Okay, a bit of
Steal their
backtracking,
food.
but it's at a manageable level. You know, in hindsight, maybe I should have brought a trinket that increases scouting chance, if I had one. I think the Bounty Hunter has a trinket that does that. Okay, we've already found our first crate. But I still need to go to the end of this hallway to confirm that there isn't a second one in here.
Ancient traps lie in wait, unsprung and thirsting for blood.
Still no, and at least we get scouting, so we don't have to go all the way. Curio quest location, okay. And then a room battle with treasure, which
Such blockages are
I'm willing to
unsurprising.
risk.
These tunnels predate even the earliest settlers.
And we already have our second quest location. Of course, the third one could easily be somewhere really far away, so that doesn't necessarily guarantee us any kind of good news. still, I'll even take just the possibility of good news. And I remembered to learn the abilities, but I didn't remember to equip them. So, Bondeville isn't going to be terribly helpful for this mission. Or at least for this fight. She'll be plenty helpful once we get into later in the mission, assuming I remember to change her equipment. End the Carrion Eater. So there's one fewer enemies we have to deal with. Alright. Drums of Debilitation again, but they don't have a mark exploitation ability that can reach that position, do they? Decent damage from Judgment, and... okay, well, he'll bleed to death eventually, and I may just have to settle for that. Wait, so Spasm of the Entrails and the Runs are different diseases? Those really sound like the same thing to me when you take away all the pretense. Crush. Alright, just need a little more damage on the chopper and he's gone. And the Man-at-Arms is happy to provide.
Maintain the offensive.
And yeah, let's just get rid of one of the corpses so that we can reach the wretch who was in position 4. And Judgment is a good opening move. Okay, that's the end of the drummer. Now we just have a wretch to deal with. A wretch and a splitting headache.
Disadvantage.
Okay, no more wretch, no more drummer. Just get you back into position. And okay.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Alright, before I forget again, let's equip the correct abilities. It's a low bar, but I can at least manage to meet that.
As the light gains purchase, spirits are lifted, and purpose is made clear.
And one of the grips managed to sneak in and add a trap as we're backtracking. You know, honestly, I really shouldn't make fun of that. I mean, given all of the weird, like, alien geometry stuff that happens around here, the idea of traps fading in and out of existence really isn't that much of a stretch compared to some of the other stuff that has happened in this mission. And we're officially off the map, or at least off the scouting. Yeah. Dazzle him with your brilliance, Bondeville. I don't know who would put a bounty on a Carrion Eater, but collect it. Crush didn't finish the job, but Wicked Hack
decimated.
Okay, that just leaves one Carrion Eater. Let's see if we can make that 0 Carrion Eaters. That's a start. And unfortunately, he manages to get some munching on. Carrion Eaters are fast. I mean, I suppose they have to be. You know, you don't want the carrion running away on you. You have to be fast to catch up with carrion.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
And more Carrion Eaters. Well, I don't know. Looking at the background here, there's a lot for them to eat. It's no surprise they gather in this area. Let's inflict some damage. How much is it? Oh, he's not bleeding for anything.
Annihilated.
I need Crush to do 3 damage. Let's see if it can live up to that standard.
Continue the
onslaught. There we go.
Destroy. them all.
You know, the ancestor gets strangely excited when I'm killing things. Should I be worried about that? A little more. Right, I can't. Let's go a flashbang then. Okay. Oh, Judgment was entirely redundant. I really should have just used a healing ability.
Be wary. Triumphant pride precipitates a dizzying fall.
Oh, right. The piles of bones are... There is actually a worthwhile holy water interaction in the Warrens. I assumed there wasn't. Okay, now we just need to walk the circle.
Glittering gold, trinkets and baubles. Paid for in blood.
How was there a painting in the torch sconce? I mean, I can accept there being gold or some jewels or even antiques. I can assume it was like an antique sconce or something. How was there a portrait in there? How do you fit a portrait into one of those? Never mind, the answer is probably eldritch and terrifying, because frankly, everything is eldritch and terrifying these days.
A devastating blow.
Alright. One more shot. 3 to 5. Took a risk and it paid off. We just have to deal with the little drummer pig. Collect bounty can't reach him, but flashbang can. And can accomplish nothing. Crush is at least a start. I'm actually going for Judgment.
Precision and power.
And that paid off. The reason for that is because this way I can finish it off with if it bleeds. It might have survived if it bleeds otherwise.
Foolish horrors. Brought low and driven into the mud.
Curio, 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 curio. So it's one of these three. Well, I'm actually going to gamble and go back to... Wait, why would I do that? I should go this way. Before too long, we're going to need to make camp. For some reason, I was trying to avoid the obstacle, but we have plenty of shovels. And more carrion eaters. It's just all carrion all the time with the Warrens. It's like they're having their annual carrion festival. Okay, Judgment would need a critical to kill. So I'll just have her start working on the drummer, and she'll have a couple of turns to shoot at it. And may as well go for Witch Attack. And get a wicked crit! Doom and munching. Crush can take care of the carrion eater. Okay, we need a decent damage roll for Judgment to finish the job. In fact, I did just barely not enough damage. Oh! Well, Vestal gets a second chance.
A momentary
Just gonna keep zapping him until it sticks. Once I get to this empty room, I'm making camp. The main issue is that I don't want to burn through the food too quickly. Okay, no scouting. Light up the firewood.
Gathered close in tenuous firelight.
Sanctuary.
And uneasy companionship.
And let's just go with Really maintain equipment. I don't really have a lot of good camping skills. Well, we managed to use up the time units.
The light, the promise of safety.
Still no scouting, but it's somewhere in this area. And there's a trap in this area,
Cool
too.
machinations spring to life with a singular purpose.
And there we are. Right next to the campsite is the last
A
one.
fortune waiting to be
Okay, the
spent.
stress levels are already getting a little high. Let's just get out of here before anything terrible happens to us.
Our supplies are replenished. The soldiers will feast tonight.
Yeah, and that bumper crop is going to be very helpful. Found a decent amount of... Found an actually pretty respectable amount of loot for a... Oh, great, a Hylomaniac again. And the Hellion is unerring. I'm pretty sure the Hellion knows exactly 0 ranged skills, but if she knew some ranged skills, they would deal extra damage. Well... And Boneth apparently has learned the Warrens in and out, because he's a Warrens tactician now.
A modest offering from those few surrounding farms as yet untouched by the spreading calamity.
Quick get Touche into some stress treatment before I forget. But, yeah, with that handful of missions and the beginnings of our preparation for the 3rd round of the Darkest Dungeon complete, that is going to be the end for this part. Thank you all for watching. I love you all, and I will see you next time.